Alright, so we are back and we want to quickly move on to work on the sidebar of our Discord clone project. Now let's not waste too much time. You can see that we are trying to navigate into one particular server, right? And you can see that we have the server ID right here, right? But there's nothing showing. So we want to quickly set up that page. What we're going to do is we're going to open up our app folder right here, and then you can see I have created a main folder for you just like that, an organizational folder called main. Then inside the organizational folder we have routes, then servers. So what I will do is, let me just do it again just so we don't get confused. So what we'll do is, you see inside the app right here, I will quickly open and create main right here. You can see we have that. And then the next thing we'll do is we want to create the routes. That one too is also going to be organizational, just like that. And we want to create another one called what, servers, just like this. And the next thing is what, server ID folder right there, just to accommodate for the dynamic ID of the servers. So we have the server ID just like that right here. All right, and we hit enter. Then you can see if I stretch, you can see everything change right here, right? Then inside this server ID folder here, we can give our page.tsx. Okay, then here we can say our RFCE. That should allow us to generate a component. So inside this component, you're going to see what, server ID page, just like this. All right, and once the hot reload does its thing, you should see that this server ID page should show up inside our browser, right? So I'll just refresh just like this, and you should see it will show up right there, right? Okay, so now that we have the server ID page showing right here, the next thing we quickly want to do is we want to now come and work on the layout, right? So we want to make sure that we have our sidebar on this side, right? So what we're quickly going to do is, inside this route right here, right, we can create a new file called what, layout. So layout.tsx, just like that, layout.tsx, just like this. And inside we can say what, rfce, and that is supposed to help us create a new component called the main layout, just like that. All right, just like this. All right, now that we have that, what we're quickly going to do is we're going to make this an asynchronous functional component right here. Then after, inside we're going to pass in this prop right here. It's going to go children, and this children is going to be set to the type of what, react what. So children, let's not forget children, then we set it to react node, just like that. All right, nice and clean. So now that we have it all set up just like this, the next thing we want to quickly do is we want to now write the layout for it, right? So inside here we want to come and see the first div we want to have here. We want it to have the class name of each field, just like that, nice and clean. Then inside we have a div inside here, and this div is going to have another component inside, right? But let me not add that component. Let's just come here and come and add a main element right here, and this main element is going to have a children prop that we are going to pass the children prop inside, right? And let's give it the class names that it needs. So you can see, okay, class name, just like that, right? Then the class name we're going to pass is md. So we're going to say mdpl is going to be what, 72 pixels, just like that. All right, and then we have what, h full, just like that, right? And you can see nice and clean. We've been able to set that up nice and clean, right? So now that we've been able to write the class names for the main, we just go into the div right above here, and we want to now come and add the elements, right? So we say navigation sidebar. So navigation sidebar, just like that. You can see right here. Right now inside this navigation, you can see that we've not created this navigation sidebar yet, right? So what we are going to do is we just go into the components folder right here inside the navigation, and then so create a navigation folder right here, right? So you can see, so inside this navigation folder right here, we are going to say what, navigation So navigation sidebar, just like this .tsx. All right, so now that we have that, I can just quickly go and copy that. So let me copy it just like this. I'll come here, I'll do my refce just like that, and I can just paste the name right there, and then you can see that everything should be fine. All right, so let me go back and get rid of the error by quickly importing it. So we just imported that. Then inside this div right here, right, inside this div, we're going to give it a class name of hidden md flex, just like that, h full, then w 72 pixels, just like that. All right, and then we'll say what, z30, then we have flex call, and we have what, fixed, and we have what, insert y0, just like that. All right, so you can see this is what we have for main layout right here. You can see it nicely done, nice and clean right here, right? And you can see that the navigation sidebar has been imported right here, nice and clean. All right, let me quickly bring this to the side so we can see everything that we have here. Right, so if I refresh, you should see that we have the navigation sidebar written on the side here. Let me see, I think I have to expand this screen so you can see it is right here. All right, I'll do it until, okay, so here like this, nice and clean. All right, so inside this navigation sidebar here, right, what we want to do is we want to quickly work on the elements inside it, right? So yeah, so the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that this is an asynchronous functional component right here. Then right at the bottom here, we want to look for the profile, right? So I would say const profile is equal to what, await current user current profile, sorry, and we just imported that from the top. You can see that we have that at the top right there, nice and clean. Then once we get this current profile, what we want to do is we want to check, right? So we would say if what, if there is no profile, then we want to quickly do something here, right? And what is that thing that we want to do? We want to simply just redirect to the home page, right? So return redirect, just like that. Then we'll use what's the next/navigation version of it. Don't forget next/navigation, right? So redirect from next/navigation, right? You can see right above here, right? So now that we've been able to set this up nice and clean, we want to now come here and we want to now find the service, right? So let's come and say const service. Now the service, we are going to get them by, so service is going to be equal to await what, await the db, right? So this db, we have to import that, and we'll import it from here, nice and clean. Then we say db dot what, server, just like that, and then we find mini, just like this. We open it up, and then you can see where do we want to find it. We want to find it, okay, so where, then we say what, members, we say members, right, just like that. And inside this members right here, we say what, sum, right? Now inside the sum, we have what, profile id, just like that, and profile dot id, just like this. All right, nice and clean. So now that we have this right here, what we are quickly going to do right now is, you see, so inside here, right, let me just remove this, right, and open this up nice and clean, right? So inside this return that we have, we want to have this div, right? So we have this div inside, and we are going to pass in the class name, right? Now we can say space y4, just like that, right? Then we say flex cool, just like that, and items center, just like that as well. So item center, and we can just come to the bottom here and say h full, just like that, and then primary text primary, then we give it a full width too as well. And then whenever we're on dark screens, we want to make sure that the bg is set to a specific color that we want to give. So we say what, we'll bring the hash, and we make sure we say 1 capital E, 1 F, 2 2 right here, just like that, right? So you can see this is going to be the color of sidebar right here, right? So now that we've been able to set up that right here, let's not forget to add our padding horizontal, which is what py, and then set it to 3, just like this. All right, so now that we have that, what we quickly want to do is we want to come and set up a couple more elements here, right? So we can say navigation action, just like that, navigation action, just like that. And we want to create the navigation action component so that we can get rid of the error. And how we are quickly going to do that is inside here we can just come and see what navigation action .tsx, right? And we can say refce, just like that. And yeah, we just say what navigation action, and we can just come back into the navigation sidebar, then we can import it just like that, so we can get rid of the error. Alright, so I just imported that. You can see it's at the top right here. Alright, so now that we have that, let's continue. So the next thing is we want to now come and add one more thing, right? So what we want to add is our separator, right? Okay, so but before we add this separator right here, right, let's work on the navigation action. Okay, let's work on the navigation action. But before we also work on the navigation action too, we need a certain component called what, action tooltip, right? Now this component, this action tooltip, we are going to get it from chat cnui right here, right? We are going to actually need two components. So we need the action tooltip, which is this one, right? So the tooltip from chat.cn, and then we also need the separator components from chat.cn, right? So let me cancel that, I'll clear that. So I want to be able to install both of them at the same time, so I'll do end, and I would say what, I'll just copy this and then paste it here, but I'll just change the spelling to what, separator, just like that, and I'll just hit enter, and yeah, then that should be it. It should try to install it for us. Alright, so yeah, so yeah, that's it. While it's installing, let's quickly just come back here, and let us just pause the video. Once it's done, then we can continue. Alright, so we are back, and you can see that all the components have been installed just like that, nice and clean. Right, so now that we know that the components are now installed nice and clean, what we need to start working on is the customization of these components. So the first thing is the action tooltip, right? So let us quickly go into the components right here, the components folder right here, and then we'll create a new file called what, action tooltip, just like this. So action tooltip, just like that, .tsx, just like this. Alright, now inside this action tooltip component, we can say what, refce, just like that. Alright, then we say what, action tooltip. Okay, alright, so now that we have this, we are good to go. So the first thing we'll do is we'll set this to be what, to be use clients, just like that, right? So we say use clients. Alright, use clients, just like this. Alright, so now that we've been able to do that, the next thing we want to do is we want to now come and set up the interface. So we say interface what action tooltip props, just like this, and inside we say what label is what strings, so string, just like that. It has to be small letter string, just like that. Alright, so label, we have the label, we have what the children, we set the children to be what react node, just like that, react node, just like that. Alright, nice and clean. Then we come and we see what side, then we set the side to be either top, so either top, right, so top, just like that, or right, and we want to say what bottom or left, just like that. Alright, so align, okay, align. Alright, and this align is going to have what start, center, and end. Alright, nice and clean. So now that we have that, the next thing we want to quickly do is we want to now come and assign these props in here, but let's quickly set the type for it so it becomes easy for us to assign them. So I'll say what's action to prop, action to tip props right here. Then inside we can pass in what the label, can pass in the label children, right, side, and align, just like that. Alright, nice and clean. Alright, so now that we've been able to do that, what we want to quickly do is I'll just clean this, right, I'll open this up, the return, and then I'll pass in with the tooltip provider, just like that. Right, and we are importing that from the UI, right, so you can see at the top here, you can see UI slash tooltip right there, right, don't import the radix one. Right, so this is the tooltip, we take from the tooltip right here, so tooltip, we take it from here, nice and clean, and we would quickly close it like this. What we want to do is we want to apply a delay duration, so it's a delay duration, just like that, and then we set that to what 50, just like this. Alright, then inside this tooltip that we have here, what we want to do is we want to add a tooltip trigger, so tooltip trigger, just like that. We import that one too as well, and we would just pass in the children, just like that, so children, just like that, and let's not forget to say what as child, just like this. Alright, so now that we've been able to pass that inside, we can now come and then set up the tooltip content right here. Right, so the tooltip content, so tooltip content, so we set that, we import that right there. Alright, and inside we can now pass in our paragraph, and we set it to what to be label, and then we make it to be what we set it to lowercase, just like that, and then we initialize that, nice and clean. Then let's come here and apply a few class names to the label right here. So we just say what we want it to be a font semi bold, just like that, and then we set the text to be SM, just like that, and we want to capitalize it's just like that as well. Alright, so we are good to go. We can just add props right here, so we can see the side, we want to set the side to side, just like that, and we want to come here and set the align to be aligned, just like that. Alright, align. Alright, nice and clean. Right, so now that we've been able to set up both sides like this, what we quickly want to do right now is we want to now come and work on our navigation action, since it is very essential for it, right? So now that we are inside the navigation action, let's not forget to first of all set it to use client, so we prevent any hydration errors. Okay, so you can see use clients just like that, nice and clean, right? Now that we have that, the next thing we want to quickly come and do is we want to now come inside here and then set up the layout for our stuff. So let me just select this. Alright, so inside here we want to now add our action tooltip just like that. So action tooltip just like this, and inside the action tooltip we can set our button, right? And then this button is going to have the class name right here. We want to see what we are doing here, so you can see we are not really going to see anything here, and then obviously we are going to get the error because we've not been able to add the props right here. So let's add the prop here. We set it to be right, and then we set the align to be center just like that, and we are going to add the label, and the label is going to be add a server just like that, right? Nice and clean. All right, so now that we have that, we can now come and add the class name to our button right here. So this button is going to have a class name of group flex items center just like that. All right, so we've been able to correct that, nice and clean. Then we would come inside here, so then we'd say div, right? So inside this div, what we quickly want to do is want to apply the plus, right? So this plus component is going to be coming from Lucid React. So you can see I just imported that. It's going to be self-closing just like that. We can just set the size right here, so we can set the size to be 25 just like that, and then we can give it a simple class name right here, so class name just like that. Alright, so this class name is going to be group cover. So group cover is going to be set to text, right? So whenever we hover, we're going to set it to we hover over the group, we're going to set it to text, right? And then we're going to give it a transition. So transition, okay, just like that, and we can set it to be text emerald. Let's do that right here. So text emerald just like that. So text emerald just like that. All right, and then that is going to be 500 just like this. All right, nice and clean. So now that we have this all set up nice and clean for us, what we quickly want to do right now is inside this div right here, we want to apply the class name that basically allows us to hover over it and see the effects, right? So you can see this is when we just hover over it, you can see the tooltip and just a change, right? But we need to add the class names to give it some kind of background, right? So let's add a class name, and then the first thing we are going to say is we're going to give it flex, and then we set the mx, right, or margin horizontal to be 3, and then we give it a height of 40 pixels just like that. So 40 pixels, and or even 48 pixels. Let's do 48 pixels and set the width to be 48. So just like that. Then we set the width to be 48 pixels just like that. And over here we can come and say we are giving it a rounded of 24 pixels too as well. 24 pixels just like that. And over here we can give it a group over again, so group over just like that, group over just like that, and we would set the rounded. So whenever we group over, we want to set the rounded to be 16 pixels just like that. We set it to be a transition or, so transition or just like that, and we give it an overflow heading just like that. You can see it's right here, overflow heading, and then we give it item center just like that, and justify center just like that, and we can give it a bg background just like that, right? And you can give it a dark. So whenever we are on dark mode, we want to give it a bg neutral, just like that, and we want to give it a 700 neutral, right? 700 bg neutral, just like that. Then we want to add the last group hover effect right here. So group hover, just like that, and we want to say on the dark screen of this group hover effects that we want to add, we want to say that what's the bg has to be emerald, just like that, 500, just like this. All right, so now that we've been able to set this up, let us quickly just refresh. All right, so I'm going to refresh this, and you should see that the effect has taken place and nice and clean, and it's very successful. It's looking nice, real good. All right, so now we can go back into our navigation sidebar and add more components. So over here, remember that we installed the separator, so we just want to import that from UI/separator, just like that. If you scroll up here, you can see it right here, right, nice and clean. So now that we have the separator inside, what we want to quickly do is we want to style this separator, right? So let's give it a few class names. So we are going to say that what we want to say that the separator is going to have a height of 2 pixels, just like that. So 2 pixels, just like that, right? And then we are going to give it a bg zinc 300, bg zinc 300, just like that. And we want to say what, dark bg zinc 700, bg zinc 700, just like that. All right, and we have the rounded md, just like that, right? And w10, just like that, right? And then we can give it what, mx02, just like that, nice and clean. And then you can see that we have this we will be having a really cool looking separator right here, just like that, right? I can bring this here so that we can see all the stylings down here, nice and clean, like that. All right, so now that we have the separator done well for us, what we want to quickly do is we want to now install scroll area, right? So I'll just do this. So scroll area, scroll area. I hope I spelled it correctly. So it's also going to be coming from Shatien UI. So scroll area has to be somewhere around here. Scroll area, okay, yeah. So you can see, yeah. Then we select what, legacy peer depth. I like that one instead. So yeah, it's actually correct. It's actually correct. All right, so now that we have all these bad boys already set up for us, what we want to quickly do is, let us go back here, and so let's go back into our Discord clone right here, and let us quickly set up the scroll area right here, right? So inside we have the scroll area, just like that. All right, then this scroll area, we are going to now close that. Then inside we say what, we give it a class name of what, we give it a class name of flex1, just like that, and we give it a full width, just like that. And in case you're wondering where we are importing it from, this is where we are importing it from. You can see we have all our components down here, right? You can see that. All right, so now that we know where we are importing it from, let's quickly move on. So this scroll area right here, we've given it the class name that we need to give it, right? The next thing we want to do is we want to now come and then map our servers. So you see the servers that we were able to get, so we take these servers and then we'll map through them. So we'll map through them, and we take each and every single server, just like that, and we just open it up just like this, right? And then we are going to say div, right? So we are going to open up this div, Okay, so then we are going to now pass in another component called a navigation item. But before that, let us give this so class name, right? And this class name is just going to be mb4, so margin bottom 4, just like that. And then we'll apply the key. So the key is going to be what? It's going to be our server.id, just like this. Alright, nice and clean. Then inside we can now come and add our navigation item right here. Navigation item, just like that. Right, okay. Then inside this navigation item, let's already add our props so that we wouldn't suffer trying to add them all over again. So inside we serve the server.id, just like that. Server.id, just like that. And then we say what name, and we say server.name, just like this. Then inside we pass in with the image URL, server.image URL, just like that. Alright, so nice and clean, we have that set up for us. Alright, so you can see that now that we have this, we now need to come and create the navigation item. Let me quickly just copy the component name right here. I'll come and I'll create the component here. So I'll say what navigation item dot tsx, just like this. Alright, so navigation item dot tsx, just like that. And what I'll quickly do is I'll just say my refce, and once the component is created, I'll just paste what I copied, navigation item, just like that. And I'll just come here and then import that so that we can get rid of the error. So you can see I just imported it from the top right there, and now the error is supposed to be gone. So how we will completely eliminate it is to pass in our props. Right now, first of all, before we do anything, let's make sure that we have set this to be what use client, just like that. Alright, nice and clean. Alright, so now that we have this set up the right way, what we quickly want to do is we want to come here and create our interface. So interface, and we are going to set it to what navigation item props, just like that. And we set it to be what id of string, just like that. Right, and we set the image URL to be string, just like that. And the next thing is we come here and then we set the name also to be what string, just like that. Alright, nice and clean. So now that we've been able to specify this, what we are just going to do is like we always do, we just specify the type here. So navigation item props, just like that, and we can just pass it inside like this. So id image URL and the name right here. Alright, nice and clean. Alright, so so you can see right here that we just passed in the props that we need to pass in, and now we need to now create the element that allows us to pass in the props and display their right arrangement. Right, so so yeah, let's not waste too much time and let's just get to it. So the first thing we want to do is we want to come here, and I would just open up this, and then I'll pass in the action tooltip again, action tooltip here, and let me open it up and let me pass in the specific props that we need to pass in. So we set the side to be what right as usual, and we set the align to be center, just like that. And we quickly set the label to be name, just like that. Right, nice and clean. So now that we have this, the next thing that we quickly want to work on is we want to now add a button right here, just like what we did for the other one. Then inside this button we can now pass in with we can pass in an onClick, right? So we can pass in an onClick, and this onClick is going to be an empty function for now, right? We'll come and add what we need to add later on, and then we'll give it a class name right here, right? Now inside this class name, we are going to give it a group relative flex and item center, just like that. All right, so now that we have that, let us quickly come here, give the div right here, and inside we can come and pass in the class name, right here. All right, so you can see this is the class name, and inside we have what, cn, right? So this cn is going to be, so you can see this cn, we just imported it from, okay, we've not imported it, we just imported from the lib, so the utils, right? So we just imported it, you can see at the top right here, right? So with this cn, we can just come and write what, absolute left 0, just like that, bg primary, like that, and rounded full, okay, and then we can give it a transition or and we can give it a width of what, 4 pixels, just like this, nice and clean. All right, so then inside here we can we are going to write like a couple of conditions, right? Okay, so let's write these conditions, but before we can do that, we need to import a couple of things from the top right here. So I'll just click on this, go up, and then I'll hit enter right here. Right, so we need to import 2 things. So let's first of all start by saying const params, right? And this params is going to be coming from use params, right? And that's going to be coming from next/navigation right here. And then we are going to also import another thing, which is what, the router, just like that. And that is also going to be coming from use router, and that is going to be coming from next/navigation too as well, just like that. We can even write, we can just write our onClick function right here. So const onClick, right? Const onClick right here, and then inside we can say router dot push, and we just set it to be what, let's make it backticks, and servers slash what, so backticks slash servers slash, then we give it what, the id right here, just like that, right? Then we just copy this onClick right here, and we just put it inside here like this. All right, nice and clean. So now that we have been able to set this up, yeah, and we have the, oh, what is wrong? Okay, so apparently it's not any real error right here, right? So now that we've been able to set that up, what we're quickly going to do is we're going to come down here, right, and then we are going to add the conditional stylings right here. So the first is we are going to check the params, right? So if we look through the params and we find what's the server ID, and we realize that the server ID is not equal to the ID that we are passing through, or yeah, or the current ID of that particular server, what we want to do is we want to see that whenever we do on group over like this, right, we want to set the height to be 20 pixels, just like that. All right, nice and clean. Then the next one is we want to check and see what, once we look inside the params and we realize that the server ID server ID right here inside the params is equal to the current ID of the ones in the sidebar. We want to set the height to be 36 pixels, 36 pixels, just like this, or we want to set the height to be 8 pixels, just like this. So 8 pixels, just like that. Right, nice and clean. Right, so now that we've been able to set up the stylings, let's make this one, let's make it a self-closing tag right here. Right, you should see it right there. So it will open up. Once it refreshes, you see this mark right here, right, nice and clean. So now that we have that, let us quickly come here and add one more div, right? And then inside this div we are going to add an image, and we are going to be getting it from next/image. So yeah, so next/image, just like that, nice and clean. All right, so this next/image, we are going to set it to fill, and we'll give it an src. And then the source of this image, oh, it looks like it was not imported. Okay, so yeah, we just imported that, and that is going to be, the source is going to be image URL, just like that. All right, then we are going to give it an alt text, which is going to be channel, like that. Right, and we have then we have class name, and we just make the class name object cover, just like that. Right, okay, so now that we've been able to set up the image right here, we need to pass in like this really cool class name here, so we can style our image nicely, or how our image looks here nicely. Right, so what we are going to do here is actually this class name has to be a cn. We are going to define it with a cn, right, because we're going to write in certain conditions based off of that. So first of all, we say what we want to give it relative. We want to give it relative, right? So relative, then we give it a group right here, right? Then we give it a flex and mx3, just like that. We give it an h of 48 pixels, 48 pixels, just like that. All right, and we give it a width too as well of 48 pixels, width of 48 pixels. All right, and we can, then we can give it a rounded of 24 pixels, just like that. So 24 pixels, and can come here and give it group hover. Let's give it a group hover of let me see, then inside this group hover, let's make it rounded, right, and let's make it 16 pixels, just like that. Right, then right after that we can give it a transition all, right, and we can give it an overflow hidden, just like that. And we can come here and write our last condition, so we can check, right? So for this one, we want to check the params, and if we check the params and we see that the server ID right here, server ID right here is equal to the ID here, or the current ID, or the current server ID, right? What we want to do is so what we want to do is we want to say bg primary, right, over 10, like this, right? Then text primary 2 as well, and rounded 16 pixels, just like that. Right, so we have that, and you can see once I hover over it, you can see that our server reacts just like this, nice and clean. It's really nice and simple, and yeah, that's pretty much it for setting up the sidebar. And let's not forget to set up the last part, the bottom of the sidebar right here. So what we'll do is just go into the navigation sidebar right here, and what we'll do is we just come under this scroll view, then we add one more div, right? And this div is going to have the mode toggle like that, right? So we import that one too as well. And yeah, then after, right under the mode toggle, we have the user button right here, user button, right? And we close that too as well. We want to pass in the style for the user button, or the appearance, right? Using the appearance prop. So say appearance, right? Now inside this appearance prop, we are just going to I'm just going to open it up like this and pass in the elements, and we are going to say that what the avatar inside it is the avatar box right here is going to be what, h of 48 pixels, and width of 48 pixels, just like that, right? So let's make sure that they are inside their square brackets, just like that, and we are good to go. The last thing is, let's just apply the div right here so we can align them the right way. So we have class name right here, and inside we can give it a pb3, or pattern button 3 right here. We give it an empty auto right there, and we would have what, flex and item center, just like that. And we have what, flex call, just like that. And we have what, gap y what 4, just like that, nice and clean. All right, so yeah, so pretty much, let me quickly refresh, and then we would see how our navigation sidebar basically looks like. You can see we have this beautiful navigation sidebar right here, and you can see that we have the user button too at the bottom here, right there, like that. So you can see our server, and once we hover over them, you can see that they all behave like they should, nice and clean. So dark, light, system, right, so system and dark, right, nice and clean. So you can see Discord uses this color anyway, so yeah. That's basically it. So yeah, that is it for working on our navigation sidebar, and thank you very much for getting to this part of this video, and I'll definitely see you in the next one.